recognize my voice. I'm Steph and I'm a mentor here at Monaco, and yeah, we've had such a fun week so far promoting our very brand new preform gel, soft gel extension module, and this is the last of our bonus live stream. So thanks so much for joining. Definitely say hi in the comments and let me know who's here on the stream with me tonight. But we'll crack into it pretty quickly. So I've used tonight the artistic gel on extensions as my tips to create this design so that I can show you that this is possible with the gel on extensions. It doesn't become a bulky design. It's really nice and thin still, because we know that that's one huge positive of the artistic gel on extensions, is that it creates the perfect, really nice, lovely, strong structure without the extra bulk or thickness that we can sometimes get from sculpted or bespoke kind of sculpted sets. So so we've got this really cool textured design, and I've seen it called quite a few different things around the place. Sometimes it's called glad wrap nails because you use glad wrap to create it, but here we've got a transparent design, so that is kind of the broken glass kind of name it goes by, but also here we've got almost this velvet looking really fun texture over the black. So along with the gel on extension tip, which obviously this would be on the client as you're recreating the nail art, I've also used the tip adhesive for creating the texture surface, because it does hold its shape just a little bit more than correction gel. And then on the top we've got the new chrome pen, and I've used pink opal tonight. So that will be really fun to give that a whirl for you guys and show you guys how that works. So yeah, very excited for that. And then over the top we actually do encapsulate with that correction gel to make a nice smooth finish and now allow us to kind of do some smoothing out and finish filing to achieve the look. So I have already pre-prepared 2 tips ready to go. And I think let's start with the black nail first, because you'll be able to see really well what it is that I'm doing. And then we can go back and do the glass kind of type nail second. The reason being that because it's transparent and we're working with chrome, it doesn't seem to have as much of a payoff on the camera as what we can see with the black nail, obviously. So let's start with the black nail. And so this is my lovely long stiletto tips. I've sacrificed a few tonight to show you guys how to recreate this design on the gel on extensions. And I've just prepped the tip. So here in your normal service, you would have buffed or blended the surface of your gel on extension and then cleansed, and then you can apply your gel polish. And we've got a couple of coats of swag, artistic color gloss and swag. So especially with dark colors though, black is the biggest culprit for this. We need to make sure we're applying a really thin coat. So this is actually 3 super duper thin coats of swag, and you can see we've got a lovely color payoff here, really opaque. So let's get straight into it. Now, we know from Nicole's stream last night in the product support group, if you managed to catch it, that it's really tricky to paint tip adhesive on. And we want to make sure that we're doing a really thin layer because we don't want to add bulk. And you'd be surprised at how little product you actually need to recreate this look. So I've got a bit of a bead on the end of the brush, and I'm going to start in the kind of front third in the center of the nail. And the reason for that is, out of all of the surface of the nail, that is the spot where we can afford to add just a little bit of bulk. So we're going to use that to our advantage. So that's where I'm going to start applying the product. And so that's where the most product is on the brush. And then I'm really going to slowly and gently paint that across the surface of the entire tip. So including the back part as well. But what this is going to do is hopefully distribute the product really evenly, but put it where we want it to go without creating bubbles. And so that's why I'm painting really, really slowly, is because if we go on really super quick, because the product is really thick like honey, it's going to push bubbles into the product. And we don't want that. So I'm just blending the center part now where there is a little bit more product. But as you can see, I've not globbed on heaps. It's really just the smallest amount. And you might be able to see that surface is not very smooth. You can see there are ridges, but that's okay because we want the ridges. And the next part is actually the really fun part. And it's the reason why this kind of nail art technique has the name it does. And it's because we're going to use glad wrap. Now, when you're doing the full cover, you're doing this technique over a full nail, it's really important that you make sure not to get any uncured gel on your client's skin. So we're going to pop the glad wrap down along the middle so it's made contact. And then the first thing we're going to do is we come in with a dotting tool, or I'm going to use a corner of the cuticle pusher today, and we're going to make almost like a wall on the edge in that cuticle area so that the gel can't go past that point. And then it's a lot safer for our clients. And same around the cuticle, the lateral areas. And you want a reasonable amount of kind of glad wrap bunched in because that's what really creates the texture. And you want to make sure that you are covering a lot of area with that glad wrap connection. So you want to make sure it's in contact rather with the gel all the way over. And this is definitely one of many nail art techniques that the more you faff, you don't get a better outcome. So Steph is a serial faffer, but I think that's good. So you can see that it's in contact all the way around the nail, and we've been really safe around the cuticle and we haven't had any run over the edge. So let's pop that in the lamp now, and we know that our tip adhesive cures for 60 seconds. So that is how long we're going to cure it for. And while we wait for it to cure, let's undo our chrome pen. So these launched only a couple weeks ago, guys, and they are a really, really awesome way to apply chrome. It comes in a little pen format, and all you need to do is unscrew the lid, and you've got a sponge applicator on one side, and in the lid is actually where the pigment is, which is good to know because if you're doing kind of special techniques, you can actually dip into the pigment on the cap rather than using the sponge applicator, which we might do today. And we've got about 10 seconds left, so if you're enjoying the live stream so far, guys, make sure to like, say hi. Bailey's popped into the comments on YouTube, which is awesome. Hi Bailey, how are you? I love having a chat. Definitely pop your questions in about the new module or about this art technique that I'm doing right now. More than happy to help you guys out with any questions you might have. So we can now remove the glad wrap because the product is cured. And I would recommend ditching that glad wrap now. So we can see for the most part we've got really cool texture. We do have a few scragglies on the edge, which we will get to, so don't worry too much about that. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. So now I'm going to grab my chrome pen, and I am going to be quite liberal in this instance. Normally with chrome you want to be really, really sparing with your product application, but because we have so many kind of nooks and crannies, we want to make sure that we have enough product on the nail to get into those areas. So I'm going to apply the bulk of the product with the applicator, and then I am actually going to go in with a fluffy brush and get a bit on the brush, but probably don't need heaps. You can also kind of dip into the neck of the cap as well. And then I'm going to use the brush to get into all of the edges that the chrome applicator can't quite reach. And you can see how that is really grabbing on to the tip adhesive underneath. And we do have a few flaky bits, which actually we don't want to be there when we encapsulate. So just removing those, better safe than sorry. Now, you can see that there are some areas that are quite high, but that's actually okay because part of this look is the dimension that it gives. And if we file through some of the chrome, it's just going to give these really cool shapes through the surface of the nail. So don't worry too much about that. Now, what I normally do is, after I've chromed, I re-cure the nail. And there's no real good reason for that, other than it keeps the client's hands, I'm just grabbing a little scribble, it keeps the client's hands safe from dust or bumps or anything like that before I'm ready to go in with the next step. And force of habit, let's cure it. Cool, and so now I'm going to pop the lid on the chrome pen, but the cool thing about it is that there's no real risk of knocking it over, chrome dust goes flying everywhere because it's all pressed in the cap, nice and safe, and then really easy to store in your drawers. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. There's a few different colours that you can find in the shop, so you can head over to our website to check that out. Thanks, Bailey. Bailey's just said something lovely in the comments and let me know. Really sorry, guys, for those of you that are on Instagram. I know that now that my audio isn't great. So if you want to watch the stream, pop over to YouTube. I'm live on YouTube and Instagram. So yeah, you can watch either place. And if you need to actually hear what I'm saying rather than watch what I'm doing, definitely I'd recommend finding us over on YouTube. So our YouTube channel is Monaco Nail Academy, and you should just be able to pop that in the search and find us. Cool, so the next step is to do the correction gel. Now, this is quite an important step, and it's worth practicing this technique because you can get bubbles really easily. And I'm going to do my very, very best to avoid that. So because we've got lots of gaps, that can introduce the air bubbles really, really easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up a nice dollop, like my brush is nice and full, and then we're going to really float that on. And hopefully, by gently floating, that correction gel will fill those gaps without creating air pockets. And we are going to finish file after this. So don't worry too much about, obviously we don't want to apply too much product, but what we want here is a smooth surface. So you can be quite generous with the product to make sure we filled in those gaps. And I'm cheating now and turning it on the side because it's on the tip and not tip holder and not on a person. And that's actually a good trick as well, is to turn it on its side to see, okay, do we have the structure in? There's no gaps anywhere. And as a last step, if you need to, you can always hold the client's hand upside down. And what that does is that with the lower viscosity builder in the bottles, like correction gel, it helps, gravity helps pull all of the gel back into the center of the nail, so that it's not run into the cuticles anywhere on either side before we don't drop it and pop it in the lab. And correction gel cures for 30, so let's cure that. And then the fun part, finish filing. So we can use our 180 grit aspect file because we're filing into correction gel. It's a much softer product. We don't need anything super strong. So that's what I'll be using. Though I would say, yeah, on the side of newer rather than older, because if it's older, then, you know, you're probably doing a little bit more work to file than something that's newer. So you can already see if it will focus. Down here you can see that it's far away, and I want to show you up close. You can already see the cool texture that is being created in the nail, and now we're going to perfect it. And the cool thing about the chrome pen, because it is like color shifting, is that it really enhances all of those shapes that we've created with the glad wrap, because the different angles are reflecting a slightly different color. So I'm cleansing that really nice and well before I'm going in the finish file and making sure that it's all nice and dry before I go on with my file. Now this is probably going to be a bit awkward, but we're going to follow our 10 filing steps like we normally would. And that's really going to help us remove the bulk where we need to. And I think I might need to actually just remove that from the tip. So bear with me while I file this very unrealistically. But we're going to go around the edges first and then do the cuticle area, which my long nails aren't helping with the filing. Sorry guys, I would have liked to have done this as real or true to on a client as possible, but we'll do what we can. Now I can already see that there must have been an ear pocket here, so we'll keep that in mind and make sure that we do our best to fill that in. Because there's a white spot there. So that's what that is telling me, because that's dust collecting in a gap in the nail. And we can do our checks on the side view to see that we've removed bulk where we wanted to, and actually this angle where a client kind of flips their fingers over can really tell us where there might be some bulk. And I am just actually going to open up that gap or that bubble a little bit more so that we can hopefully clean the dust out of there and fill it in rather than leaving it as air in the nail, which obviously we want to avoid at all costs. Cool, so let's clear away the dust and give it a cleanse and see where we're at. Oh wow, hi Caroline. We've had a very exotic person join us in the comments. Caroline says, hello from Manchester, England. Happy April Fool's Day. Happy April Fool's Day, Caroline. It's the evening now in New Zealand, so yeah, you can definitely, we're over our April Fools, thank goodness. I'm always someone that really gets gotten by April Fools on social media, so I was on high alert today. But welcome to the stream. She's also asked, are these available to people in the UK? I'm not 100% certain who it is that stocks artistic nail design in the UK, but if you pop on the artistic website, I'm sure that they will let you know, who you can purchase your artistic nail design from. And Bailey has asked, how much extra time do you think this would add to your service if you did this design on all 10 nails? To be honest, obviously the finish filing on all 10 nails is going to add significantly more time, but you have to get the pot out, you have to get the glad wrap out, all of that stuff. So I would say that I'd be adding all 10 nails. I'd say 15 minutes probably be a push, but And I would definitely class this as advanced art because we've got, not only do we have chrome, but we're also encapsulating. So I would book this as, if it was me, as advanced art for half an hour and really take my time and perfect it. So definitely keep that in mind if you wanted to add this to your repertoire in the salon. Cool, so let's go in and top coat now because I really can't wait to see what, clumsy Steph, really can't wait to see what this will look like with the shiny top coat on. So, how gorgeous. Now we do still have that little air bubble, and what we should do is fill that in with correction gel before we top coat, but because this is just on the tip and I want to show you the second colour or the second way to do this, I'm just going to top coat that. Cool, so let's do the clear tip nail now. Obviously same process, so I am not going to kind of talk through it in so much detail this time compared to last time. So, but yeah, if you have any more questions as I work, please do ask. And sometimes I find, depending on your Glad wrap, obviously you're using new Glad wrap, so it's probably going to be quite smooth and not creased, but giving it a few creases to start with can help the look. And let's just pop that one next to the first one. I think the second one went better. If I could choose, I think that looks freaking awesome. And hopefully I can take some pictures for you guys as well so that you can see the full effect of it, because on camera it's not capturing quite as much of the colour shift as what we can see. Anyway, let's get cracking on this glass nail. So same as the previous one, but I am really just going to focus over that free edge because I know that I'm going to put a colour over the kind of the nail plate area. So I'm not going to worry too much about doing the design the whole way up, though I am going to make sure to kind of what I would call almost blend it in. So making sure the product is where I want it to be, and then blending it upwards. Cool. And we can pop the lid on that so we don't knock it over, because I notoriously knock things over. And then let's pop our Glad wrap on, and I always like to make the contact in the center and then go in and immediately kind of do the sides and push it in. We don't have to worry as much about skin contact on this one because we're not working so close to the cuticle. And you actually don't need a lot of scrunch in terms of like depth, because even just a little variation in depth is going to give us the look that we want. And even though I popped the Glad wrap in the middle, I did have a few air bubbles in between the Glad wrap, which is going to kind of create little craters. But smooth, and we don't really want that for this look, so just keep that in mind, keep an eye out for those, especially for this clear one. We want to make sure that we have the texture we're after, and I'm faffing. What's new? Okay, happy with that. In the length for 60 seconds because we're using tip adhesive, so that's a full cure. And let me get my chrome pen back out. Do any of you guys like to keep your packaging even though you don't need it and it's slowing you down? I just thought this packaging is so cool that yeah, I'm not done with it yet. I can't throw it out, so we're keeping it. Now, keep in mind, chrome or iridescent kind of colours definitely change depending on what colour they're over. So, that's kind of also another reason why I've done the black and the white, to give you that like quite significant contrast between the different colors that you can kind of get out of that. Yeah, so we've got just a few seconds left on the cure, which is awesome. And let's pop this out of the lamp. And then same, we can just gently remove the glad wrap, making sure we're not touching the area of the glad wrap that the gel is on, and popping it to the side, which will go in the bin shortly. And then same deal, using the applicator to apply a lot of the bulk of the product, especially over the higher areas. And I am actually purposefully avoiding right on the edges of the nail, because chrome can get in the way of adhesion of the layers that go on top. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And then I am just going to use my fluffy brush with a little bit extra chrome powder from the cap and really brush that into all of the gaps. And you can do this with the chrome pens, or you can do this with any of the Be Creative pigments as well. There's a huge range that we stock here at Monaco, so the world's really your oyster with that. And then, so the next step is to keep our workspace tidy. So pop what we don't need out of the way, and then go in with our correction gel to encapsulate. And then same as with when we applied the tip adhesive, we don't actually need bulk in the apex area. We can just focus this application again, mainly over where we've added this new texture, and then we can blend it out afterwards. And we really want to make sure we're filling in any gaps created by the glad wrap, so that when we finish file, we have a lovely smooth nail. And I've got correction gel on my skin, which I need to wipe off immediately. So, happy with the structure. Let's get that guy in the lamp for 30 and clean this off my skin. Cool. And Bailey said in our YouTube channel chat, so guys, if you're watching on Instagram, make sure to pop over to YouTube, because I think my audio quality is a little bit better over there. But she said that she still has the box for her iMix. She doesn't know why, because she's not storing it in the box. Oh my god, same. I keep all of my kind of like tech boxes and things like that. So you're not alone. And she's also asked, do I prefer correction gel for filling in the gaps because it levels easier? 1000%. Thanks for bringing that up, Bailey. That's such a good point. That's exactly why I've chosen to use correction gel today, because it fills in the gaps and it will self-level, whereas the tip adhesive doesn't self-level, even when it's warm. And it's pretty warm in the room I'm in right now. So, yeah, if it's not self-leveling right now, it probably never will. So, yeah, that's such a great question, and thanks for bringing that up. So we're giving that a really, really decent cleanse, and then we'll go in and finish file. So again, the first thing we're doing is just tidying up any of the edges, making them super nice and crisp again before we go in for our surface filing. And I'm going to try and pop this guy off again. And I'm paying extra attention now on this front portion, because that's where we've added product, rather than worrying too much about, you know, the cuticle area or the back third of the nail where actually we didn't apply much extra product at all. And checking down the barrel can be a really good way to check for extra bulk. And then I can go around and file this cuticle area. And you could just leave this one like this and be a really cool kind of like transparent nail, or you can do what we're about to do, which is add a colour over the top to kind of disguise the natural free edge, but still show off the clarity of the gel on extension tip. So again, clearing away the dust, and then let's hopefully this will stick back on me, and let's clear away the dust and then go in with our colour. So today I'm using Bride, which is an absolute staple in the artistic range. It's white, and out of all of the white gel polishes I've tried, it's definitely like hands down the best. Great pigmentation, but still really easy to work with. So we'll do the cuticle application in Bride and then bring that about a third of the way up the nail. And then I'm actually going to apply bonding gel, and we're going to do a little bit of a purposefully messy ombre. So if you're not confident with ombres, don't worry, this doesn't have to be super tidy. And we really want to push that right up to the Bride. And then we're just going to use a nail art brush to blend those together. And I'm going to go side to side, just over that blend. And the reason why we only went a third of the way down is so that we can have an area to blend out the Bride. Cool, and it can be messy because I'm kind of going for that smoky kind of look, so let's pop that in the lamp. And then we'll just do a second layer, and I'm already going to pre-prep. So on my tip, I've got like a nice kind of cool white border around the tip as well. So I'm just going to lay down some Bride on a palette. And then the second coat, I'll show you in just a few moments how to achieve that. But if you're just joining the stream now, guys, these are the looks that we're recreating tonight with this artistic gel and extensions, which is super fun. Cool, so now we've got the first layer done, and we're not going to use bonding gel on this layer, we're just going to use the white Bride at the cuticle area just to bring some opacity. And it might look a little bit like you can see the edge of where we've applied the product, but once we apply the top coat, that's all going to blend in, so don't worry too much about that. And then on my nail art brush, I'm just going to paint a border. And the reason why I like this is because with stilettos, it really accentuates the point. And then additionally, this is a kind of glass design with the transparency, so it almost creates like a window for you to see that design in, and gives that design a bit of a frame. Cool, so if you need to blend the edge a little bit, do that now, and then pop it in the lamp for a 30-second cure. And now's a good chance to tidy up. And also a great chance if you guys have any questions. Bailey's really been asking some awesome ones tonight, but please do, even after the stream, if you're watching this back after the fact, or even if you're watching it as part of the Freeform Soft Gel Extensions module, definitely pop your questions in the question box or the comment box, and we will more than happily get back to you on whatever it might be that you are curious about. Cool, and then the last step obviously is to do our correction gel. So this has a little bit less of a wow factor because we're not working with a matte surface and then converting it to shiny, but it still really blends in that white fade together quite nicely. So obviously you would bring the fade down as far as you needed to cover the client's natural free edge. So in this instance over here, it's further down. And then the one I've just done is probably a little bit too high, but that's okay. Without a frame of reference, sometimes things can be a little bit more tricky. So while that one cures, let's cleanse the other one up because it's still got the tacky layer on it. And we can have a really good look at the finished result. And if you guys choose to recreate this design for yourself, which I really hope that you do, please make sure to tag us in your posts so that we can share it with everyone. But yeah, so those are the two finished designs, and let's kind of put them side by side so that we have a couple of examples next to each other. Yeah, so slightly different effects. I think when you use a little bit less of the chrome powder, it doesn't give as reflective of a surface. So that's a learning on my behalf. But the second one we did, oh my goodness, it looks so good. And like I said at the start, we haven't added too much extra bulk to the tip by being really smart about where we're applying that tip adhesive and creating that texture in the nail. So I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this live stream tonight. Please share it with us if you do decide to recreate these designs. Have fun if you enroll in our new Preform Soft Gel Extensions module. Have fun with it. And yeah, can't wait to see all your recreations. Hope you guys have an awesome, awesome night. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you in another live stream sometime really soon. Bye, guys.